Welcome back, and if you just joined us, you are watching Enterprise Morning and to our main conversation segment. The Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Benjamin Kalu, has announced that Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the Indigenous People of Biafra, IPOB, will soon be released from detention. IPOB is a group seeking to carve out a sovereign state of Biafra from the southeast and some part of South Nigeria. The IPOB leader, who is facing trial at the Federal High Court Abuja, has been in detention since June 2021 when he was repatriated from Kenya to Nigeria over terrorism allegations. Kalu, who represents Bende Federal Constituency at the lower chambers, has said talks were already ongoing to free Kanu from detention. The revelation was provided by the lawmakers' spokesperson Levinus Umuahia, who on Tuesday, the Deputy Speaker was speaking virtually when he was featured as a guest on the Southeast Political Roundtable, a program on Flow FM in Umuahia, the Abia State capital, on Tuesday. He said, quote, "We are working on the ground. There is a detailed strategy. It's not by violence. You can coerce the government through violence. It has never worked and won't work. Let's be wiser. The wisdom is in peace. Let's quench the violence." End of quote. Now let's talk about this, of course, to make sense of this. Still in the studios with me, Barrister Evans Ufeli. Thank you for hanging around on with us today. And I have just joining us in the studios, Barrister Tajuddin Abdul Hamid. Thank you so very much, sir, for being part of our show today.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome.
We have requested me to be Tajuddin instead of Tunji.
Tunji, sorry, sir.
I forgive you.
Very sorry, sir.
Good morning.
So I have with me Barrister Tunji Abdul Hamid. Thank you so very much, sir, for being part of our show today. All right, so let's go into the main cause here. We have Mr. Benjamin Kalu, and he's saying so much about Mr. Nnamdi Kanu. How serious should we take this man? How serious should we take him, going by all that he has said on the possible freedom that he expects from Nnamdi Kanu? Let me start with you, Barrister Tunji Abdul Hamid.
Well, as Deputy Speaker, excuse me, National Assembly, I think he is an high-class man. He's in a high position, and he has a freedom. And I'm talking about access to the president and to some other people involved. They may be looking at the political issues, just like he said. So I will be trusting his position because of by virtue of his where he belongs. He is a very senior member of the National Assembly. Number what is it again now? Where he's very high in the ranking, and therefore whatever he's saying can be taken seriously. But most times politicians, they just speak. And just to give you that calmness.
To down the temperature.
To down the tension. So whether or not he's saying the right thing or not, I want to give him the benefit of that to say probably we should just trust him and say he's saying the right thing. But for me, I don't know whether, I'm not opposed to political solution to the problem on ground, because we have been using political solution for all problems on ground. Even Boko Haram people that have been killing people, the S-men and the killer S-men, the bandits, some of them that have been told have been arrested, some have been given amnesty. So if people of such nature can give amnesty, I will not say anything about this, especially when the government is not even showing the intention of prosecuting the matter, because the matter has been in court since 2021 and nothing has happened in court. So it shows, for me, it looked like if the government doesn't even have enough evidence to prosecute him. Otherwise, I would say if they have evidence, so rather than looking for political solution to all these kind of issues, it's better we go through the courts, ensure that there are adequate evidence, and then they will lay the thing to bar, and then that will be the end of it. But unfortunately, we don't have that in our system yet. So there is nothing bad in the political solution to it. And there's nothing bad if those discussions are going on. I want to trust the man to believe that truly they are talking and that talk may likely lead a possible result. I believe that under this regime, probably there will be a political solution and maybe released based on that political solution.
All right, so Barrister Ufeli, Southeasterners, are, most recently have formed what I would call a cult following of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Now, lots of them would say what Benjamin Kalu is saying is him just being insidious. Do you think that is true?
I would have believed Benjamin Kanu. I would have believed him, except that I am not settled with my instinct on believing that anything is going on. This is a personal. I feel that statement is political. I feel he's just glossing over the issue. The core issue here is that even the Court of Appeal had dismissed that case before the federal government took it to the Supreme Court. You understand? And then the Supreme Court now did another turnaround that took the case back to the Federal High Court, and all that. So the federal government, like my colleague said, they are not serious about the case because treason and terrorism allegations or charges you cannot inculpate the defendant in the absence of evidence. You understand? So you have to, before the court, get the requisite evidence to so do. Does the federal government have the evidence? We don't know yet. Until they really go into trial. Because all the while, they have been dealing with interlocutory issues and all that. But the substantive issue have not been addressed so far. So Kalu's expression as to the fact that very soon talks are underground. Which talk is underground? And who are the persons involved in this negotiation? And how far have they gone with this negotiation? There's a sense in which if you want to represent your people and placate their fears, you must give them detailed information. I do not think this information is detailed. It looks like an advice, especially the last two paragraphs, the last two sentences, where he said that let's be wiser, that the wisdom is in peace. Let's quench
The violence.
Okay, that is what everyone have canvassed before now. That you're not going to get succession by violence because federal government is the monopoly of violence itself. Okay, we've said this before. So this is just like adding his voice. So the fact, but as to whether there's a concrete a discussion going on somewhere, whatever it is, or Ohaneze should know, okay? Ohaneze and Igbo should know. The elders, okay, elder statesmen of that region should know about it and all that. So if an attempt has been made, why not give the people full information as to what you have done so far? Than to say he will soon be released, but you have no other information to give out other than that he will soon be released and talk is going on. If the federal government is making any response, it is the people's right to know. The reason I'm saying this is because a lot of people have capitalized on this Nnamdi Kanu's case to do a lot of things. In fact, some persons are using it to make money.
Exactly.
Some persons have created different business out of it. Even some Nigerians in the diaspora have used it to seek asylum.
Yeah, exactly.
In many countries, the stories are all over the place. So, I not like what he's saying is not good, but how genuine is this?
How genuine it is.
How far-reaching is this? How much of trust can we place on this? At the risk of not sounding like he's deceiving the people, but what is it really that that they have achieved in that negotiation. The people will want to know, because Nnamdi Kanu case is a very sensitive one. It's a very sensitive one because it has a long history of pain coming from far back, 1976, and all that. So I think we should look at this issue just beyond what they say. Let's know more about this thing you're talking about. I personally am canvassed that Nnamdi Kanu ought to have been released based on the pending there's an order for bail pending, which the federal government refuted and all that. And when the Supreme Court came out and said it is irresponsible to invade his house when he was on bail, and that the extraordinary rendition from Kenya back to Nigeria was a violation of his fundamental rights. Having said all that, I expected that that bail, that it was granted, that issue could have been raised and all that. But,
Now,
we're here.
All right. So, talking about people profiting from the cloud around Nnamdi Kanu, we've had similar issues with Professor Soludo and Mba of Enugu State, equally coming out to say, "Give us Nnamdi Kanu, and we'll rest the issues of the southeast of Nigeria." Now, we've had incidences of some of these things. So do you think we hope to see anything coming out of the blues suddenly with this statement from this man? Of course, you've said there's nothing to it, obviously. But do you think our politicians are deliberately creating influence for themselves?
Benjamin Kalu should tell us whether this is his own negotiation, whether it's tied around Soludo's own and the Enugu State Governor's own, or is it a separate one? You understand? That's why I'm saying this thing is bereft of details. Give us details as to, is he joining forces with the governor of
Anambra State and the governor of Enugu State to do this talk for Nnamdi Kanu's release? Or is he saying there's a fresh talk ongoing for the purpose of his release? You understand? It's not enough to, you must give details. You understand? You must give details. With the absence of details, you are edging the people. And that's not good enough.
I think, let me just come in a way. I think on the contrary, I want to think maybe the man has been diplomatic, because this is an issue before the court, and it's not an issue that should be settled based on the understanding and resolution. So maybe they want to the kind of negotiation they are doing may not be too constitutional or legal, and they don't want to be.
But the court allow for settlement outside court.
Yeah, the court allow for settlement outside court. When you are talking about telling you the details as to how it will go, that may some of the way some of the resolution may likely not be in line with the law, and then they may not want to say that. They just let it go. Let's just ignore it, and then they enter, not let prosecute, or just do this and that. It may be. So they will not want to encourage a situation whereby people in the future, some people in the future will want to commit similar offense and be waiting for a situation whereby they will say, maybe they will discuss and give us when we create a crisis in the country, they at the end of the day come together and say they are giving us pardon, or they are setting us, or they will go the way of Nnamdi Kanu and release us. Probably they are trying to. I'm not trying to hold brief for him. I'm just trying to give him a benefit of doubt to say, look, there might be discussion on that ground. There might be political, and that's why I say political solution. When you say political solution, this issue on ground is not a political matter. It's a legal matter. Okay. Yes, it's a legal matter because the matter is already in court. Then because we are looking for peace, and we are looking for a way whereby it will be win-win for everybody, and that's why they are talking about political settlement. So if they are using political settlement in reality, there are some political solutions that may not be good to let the public know that this is the way. In other words, there are some political solutions that will be a kind of circumventing the law in a way. And if you are exposing that to the public, you are saying, look, we can bend the law for certain people. And that's what they are doing. So probably that is the reason why all these details are not before the public. And maybe they are still discussing. Just want the people to know that, look, we are discussing. We are not folding our arms. We are doing something behind the scene.
Now, talking about political solution, just like you mentioned, in the past, the Buhari and Tinubu rejected political talks to free Nnamdi Kanu. What could have suddenly changed?
No, this is a different regime, even though they're the same political party, APC and PDP. APC. The President Buhari was under the APC, and you can even see the current regime. Most times they are even alleging the past regime of bad behavior. So that means they are not on the same page. And nothing will have changed. But like I see some of these issues sometimes, personal ego and interest are also there. And that's why it depends on whoever is in government. If you have anything against that person, you hold it against him and you don't want to do another thing. And then you want to just pursue it and say, use your position to say, look, I will make sure that you rot in jail. Or some people don't forgive once you commit an offense. And some people see you once you are in government and you try to create something, one thing or the other, they see you as enemy and they will not forgive you and they will continue to, they want to take their own pounds of flesh on you. So it may not be, nothing might have changed, nothing much, but what has changed is the political leadership in the country. The government, the administration has changed. The one in charge before now is not the one that is there now. They have a different ideas and ideologies and a way of doing things. So I think nothing more in terms of the fact of the case, in terms of the offense alleged to have been committed, even though we have not seen any charge, because as it is today, there is no charge before the court. Because the Supreme Court has stated that those charges and has been asked to go and start the trial de novo again at the Federal High Court. So until that is done. So for me, nothing much has changed.
All right.
The federal government has not put anything different before us. But probably they are trying to do different attitude by different administration.
Now, let's talking about finding a lasting solution to all of this. I would call it a cul-de-sac, okay, of an issue with Nnamdi Kanu. While Nigerians and politicians are trying to hope that this comes, seamlessly, on the other side of the aisle, we've had lieutenants of Nnamdi Kanu who are busy exacerbating this issue. Example is Mr. Simon Ekpa, whom the Senate President had said that he is even more in control of the Southeast than the entire 5 Southeastern governors in Nigeria. Now, how do you think all of these things would be possible in the future, knowing that some of the lieutenants of Nnamdi Kanu are not even simpatical with what the politicians are hoping to create?
That's why they are looking at a political solution and a solution. In other words, when they have an agreement and they discuss, that's what we mean by political solution. There will be a discussion, there will be an agreement that, look, we will leave you, this will not happen, this will not happen, this will not happen. You will talk to your guys, this is this, and you give us an undertaking or guarantee that this will be done. Probably those are the things that will be considered at the meeting, and those are the issues that will be before the table, before they leave, whatever they are discussing. In other words, all those will be taken care of in their discussion before any decision can be taken as to whether to releasing or not to releasing. But the way it is now, the political solution is the best as far as I'm concerned for now. Even though I'm not in support of that, I don't believe we should be using political solution to sort out a matter of court. These are matter before the court. These are matter before the court of law that should be decided. In fact, the person that's been alleged will even be more comfortable when there's a court decision saying you are free than when there's a solution from the government. The government can come back and say we are bringing out the issue again because it's not been laid to rest. So those are the issues there. But as it is now, we are not. The problem we have in Nigeria is that we are not operating the rule of law. Because if we are operating based on rule of law, even our law says that if you are detained and you are not granted bail, and your trial is not completed within 3 months, you must be released either conditionally or unconditionally.
Section 35, subsection 4
of the Constitution is there, but we don't follow it. You see people in custody for years without any trial, and the law says so. If you are not given bail within 3 months and your trial is not concluded, you are free to go. The court is free to give you bail on condition, or to even even discharge you. The court has that power to do that. But that's not happening now. The government is just using its own. You see government put you in custody for years. No, you have not even taken it to court. I have done a case that it was even given to me by pro bono by the state. The guy was in custody for 9 years.
Whoa.
9 years. The same government that put him in custody was the same government who gave the case to me, not knowing that they were even the one that did not take him to court. So it was when I came in that we were able to get him out. Luckily for him, he was there for 9 years.
Wow.
No trial, nothing.
No.
So we have so many of them.
Sometimes no case filed.
Not exactly. So that is the kind of thing. If to say Nnamdi Kanu is not a big man or like this, he may not even hear anything. He will be there. Nobody will hear that anybody is anywhere. And that is the unfortunate situation we find ourselves in this country. The abuse of law, abuse of power, disobedience to the rule of law. And that has been our albatross in this country. If we follow the rule of law, all this issue of a political settlement resolution, however, will not be, because by now the trial will have been concluded. The administration of criminal justice says criminal matter trials should be done every day, daily. So it will not take you more than if you have 20 witnesses, it won't take you more than how many days to even conclude the case if you are doing what the law says. They were not doing that. But the only one we abide by and that we hold strictly is our political matter. When we say you must conclude within so day, we are there to it strictly. The other ones, anything can happen. They don't care about that one. So until we follow our rule of our law the way it should be, we will not desist from seeing this kind of it.
Now, let's talk about the sincerity of politicians in this case who abruptly have used Kanu as a publicity stunt, okay, for the political irrelevance in Nigeria. But as you answer that, I would love you to maybe, if time can permit us, if you can take us right back into the genesis of all of these issues. I know for sure that an average Igbo man is really not concerned about what happens in government. All he's concerned about is provide basic basic infrastructure that would help me run my business, and I move on. But unfortunately, because of course they say nature abhors vacuum, leadership ineptitude has engrossed into our nation, which of course has given room for the of Nnamdi Kanu to have encroached into the space and is becoming an icon now. How do you think we can nip this problem in the bud, especially when it comes to sincerity of our politicians who have used this issue as a publicity stunt?
Yeah, to backtrack on what you're talking
Yes.
about, the genesis of this whole thing. There's a school of thought there in the southeast and elsewhere that the southeasterners are marginalized. That the scheme of things in Nigeria, even appointments lately and before now, that they are sidelined. So, however, whatever that means, is arguable. It's arguable to the fact that, to the extent that they have canvassed and sustained that argument, and that they have a lot of followers, people who believe in that thought. The Igbos are Republicans. They are industrialists. They have contributed very strongly to the Nigerian economy, whichever way, even from diaspora, they contribute a lot. And we acknowledge that and we accept the fact that they are a huge force to reckon with, economically speaking and otherwise. But you see, the issue of secession, there's no country that gladly gives you secession just because you are agitating for it. Okay? There's no country that does that. Especially when the agitation is violent prone. Because Nnamdi Kanu's approach to it has never been intellectual. It has always been violent statements that are seditious. And these statements, because they are inflammatory, government will barely condone it because they are heavily inflammatory. And when you also use the media, they have a radio where they're making statements. Even the guy in the other guy
in Finland.
If you go to his YouTube page, you see the way he's also using the social media to make statements that if truly you want to secession, I've said this before, and I have an article on it. Why the African Charter on Women and People's Rights? If you look at section 20, 21, and 23 of the African Charter on Women and People's Rights, which is part of our legislation because the National Assembly domesticated it. Since our constitution does not have a window for secession. That law is part of the laws of Nigeria, the laws of the Federation, the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. That is the law we quote when we are doing fundamental rights enforcement cases. When we cite the Constitution, we will cite section 35 and 36. We will cite the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. We cite it in court often, which is part of our laws. Section 20, 21, and 23 of that law, it gives the procedure for which you can have that application made for secession. So, okay, you will not get international backing if your approach is violence. Okay? Why don't they go through that route? Because I've said it before, and one of the leaders of the communities of the South is also raised the issue. Though after mine,
Yes.
use that so that you can gain support. You may not even get the victory thereof, but you know you can actually use the legal means to garner support and all that. And then the conversation will continue until the time comes whenever that is granted. You understand? But this issue of using violence to want to cow the federal government and then to, it's not the right thing to do. And that is why the backlash has always been very grievous. This thing is avoidable, okay? The grievances are everywhere. There are people who are not Southeasterners, there are some tribes in Nigeria that are just in one state. You understand?
Yeah.
So what would those ones do? I mean, the Domas, for example, the thieves, for example,
Exactly.
they're just in one state. Lockdown. Okay, you have 5 states. To a large extent, you have succeeded. You have spread forth. There should be a sense in which, if truly you are marginalized, I prefer we use political solution to resolve that one, the issue of marginalization, than for us to start to demand for secession through violence. They get arrested, they stay behind bars. Then some people will now gather and be using political solution to resolve your immediate problem, that's your incarceration. The political solution would have been to resolve the issue of marginalization, if any exists. You understand? So that's what I think. This thing is coming from a long history of war. War have been involved in this same thing where people were killed. A lot of people were killed. Okay, those who were not killed, who ran away from Lagos and other places, came back in 1970, had lost their properties, their houses and all that. Economic loss. The federal government tried to do what they call reconciliation and rehabilitation and whatever. It didn't go down well and all that. So the ripple effect of what violence will cost you, you could have saved yourself of it. And then focus on the issue under reference. In what way are you being marginalized? What is the solution? You have members at the House of Assembly, you have members at the National Assembly, the upper house and the lower house. What are they saying about it? What can we do to ensure that we reclaim our place? I think that should be the main issue, not using violence to achieve.
Exactly. And
especially when these violence are not even affecting directly affecting the federal government. It's the people you are fighting for are those affected by those aggressive approach that they are being used. People of the Southeast are the one not suffering the consequences.
Yes.
They don't go
now
to,
you have a sit at home.
They sit at home and all.
They sit at home and it's not so.
Then other criminal organizations are
using that as an opportunity.
It's not good. Like
the,
you said,
the relative peace that was enjoyed in the Southeast before now, there's no peace.
There's no peace any
and
longer.
that's why maybe the last administration was very angry about it, thinking that look, we want to become another government beside us, and then their former president, he liked power, and then he doesn't want anybody to drag any power with him. So once you are dragging power with him, you will become a major enemy, and probably that was the reason why he was even not kept there. Don't keep him there. Don't do anything. You see, that is the situation. So I think, like you said, and like the honorable said, honorable speaker said, there is need to have peace, and then you can achieve this by peace. Unfortunately, I'm not sure whether this we're even talking about, this agitation we're talking about, is supported by the majority of the people in the Southeast. I'm not sure.
It's true.
I'm
It's
not
not.
sure. It's just only that people are just having sympathy.
Exactly.
Because of this our sentiment, this our country. Once your town man or somebody from your place is involved,
He's been victimized.
So majority may not even be in tune with his agitation. Because if that is the case, you will not see. They have members at the National Assembly. They have members at the Senate. They have the governors. They are not talking about it.
Senator Abariba used to be a champion of this, but most so suddenly he has relaxed a little bit.
They will be made to. They are not. That's why I say I'm not sure whether the majority of them are into it, because it was a Biafra or whatever
connotation,
they are agitating for. It becomes a smaller country compared to Nigeria, and they will have to go back.
And the opportunities.
They don't want to go to that particular place. And so, like you said, the issue of marginalization, if any, is what should be looking into.
Addressed.
And if there is a need for you to even say, okay, if the majority say we want to go, let's follow the process in line with the law, not just by way of a war of committing a crime, because I can see crime being committed here. People are being killed, people are being prevented from doing their business. Fundamental rights have been infringed everywhere. So I think we should adopt more peaceful way of doing it. And I think the government should also do the right thing. If you believe that somebody has committed a crime, take him through the process, rather than just keep him against the law and then do nothing.
Now, finally, Atiku, during his manifesto when he was running for the president of the country in the southeast of Nigeria, did promise Southeasterners that if they allow him to become the president of this country, the first thing he would do is to ensure that Nnamdi Kanu goes free. Do you think that would have been possible if he had won the election?
He didn't win now.
So, you're not God. You can't go into his.
He didn't win.
Sometimes we make these politicians we make promises, and then when it comes to implementation, that's when they realize that there are things that have not been on ground, or we're not even aware that this is not the situation before this was done.
Buhari said it now that when he becomes president, that he will abolish medical tourism.
The current president talks about
it was the first person.
Restructuring. He said that before he became president. Now is he talking about it?
Yes, the first person who went on
that's not to say
medical.
He may do it. You can't just say he may not. He may have a different view as to how to go about it.
But you need those sensitive issues to garner support when you are campaigning. You know, campaign is desperation. You are promising everything, even the one you can give and the one you cannot do. So that's part of it.
All right, that's just about the time we have for our discussions for today. I'd love to thank Barrister Tunji Abdulhamid for being part of our show today. Thank you so very much, sir, for making our time to be in our studios. And of course, Barrister Afanso Fede, thank you very much, sir, for being part of our show. And to our audience in Nigeria and across the world, I would love to say thank you so very much for also being part of our show. But please do remember to like, follow, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Enterprise TV7. Please do visit our website at www.enterprisetvnews.com. I am Henry Ibibike. I'll see you for yet another awesome discussion tomorrow.